happy to be there because it's a very important part of work for us. During sales of these vegetables, we are trying to be different. We are trying to make our vegetables different to emphasize Japanese quality. That is why we have chosen to change the package of our vegetables. This year, we are expanding the volume of production of vegetables because our vegetables are very demanded. And the second area which I mentioned is a project of Yamal, natural gas. It's very important to there is a method, modern modular innovation. It means to separate several modules from 3,000 to 80 tons, to divide the material into several modules. From 3,000 to 8,000, and to transport it to the place of construction and to assembly these modules at the site of construction. And as you can imagine, it's a northern region and the climate is very severe. That is why we have an opportunity to make construction, but these opportunities are very limited. That is why we have to think on how we can transport the modules, the already assembled modules, for thousands of kilometers, because the distances are very large. And this method is also used for other projects which we have been implemented in Australia and Malaysia. And of course, every time for each individual project, we use individual approach, and we also use Internet of Things and big data. We analyzed big data, and we think that we can use these technologies in order to optimize the working process, the production process, and this technology could be applied to all the production industries. Please, may I draw your attention to this slide? This is a service, anomaly detection. We have data, we receive data on production of plants and factories, and we analyze this data, and we have an opportunity to use these systems in advance and to foresee the possible anomalies. Such system is used with big data on production, and of course you understand that without participation of people, it's impossible to organize the production, it's impossible to work. But taking the advantage of this system, we can analyze the possible anomalies using human factor, human errors and mistakes made by the employees of the plant. Many people think that it's a very complicated combination of analysis of big data, of works, of equipment, and behavior of people. Unfortunately, 7 minutes have passed. I'm trying to be brief, but this technology has been already implemented by the US company, and this system is used by us very actively, and we use it in the industry. And the third area is a project in the healthcare sector. You think that healthcare is far from our company, but nevertheless, we are involved in such projects for more than 30 years. And we have around 300 projects which we have already implemented. And next year we will have a rehabilitation center in Vladivostok, and we will try to provide the local population with the high quality and available healthcare services. We have a very large experience and expertise in construction of different systems. If you are interested in our projects and system, please feel free to contact us.
Thank you very much, Mr. Suzuki, for your introduction and for your speech. We don't have only the machining industry of Japan. This company, DDC, is also actively developing its operations in different fields of engineering in different countries of the world, and it was also mentioned in Russian that they are trying to develop the efficiency and productivity of production. They have already gained a lot of experience and know-how, and with this regard we're going to exchange our experiences too and information. The first representative of the Russian party will be given to Mr. Jigayev, the General Director of Chinmet. Good afternoon, dear participants, dear Kada-san. First of all, I would like to thank you for the given honor to take part in your event. We are also extremely honored and thankful to Japanese experts for their contribution to diagnosis and increasing the efficiency of our enterprise. I'd like to mention a couple of words about our enterprise. The production station, innovative solutions of metal machining. We are more than 10 years old, and we are precise machining, providing complex parts and machining solutions, comparing with leading enterprises of the Russian machine industry. The enterprise is in Kazilsk of Kaluga region of 3 hectares in area, 3,500 square meters of development, where the production facility is 3,500 meters, about 30 units of highly efficient machining centers with CNC, 7 of which are 5-axis machine tools. The employees have about 70 highly qualified employees, where 7 are process engineers and programmers, and 3 leading designers, heads of projects. Over the last years, company has been diversifying business and mastering the new range of promising products of civil use. Within this context, we successfully implement the project of building a production center to develop and launch into series input substitute in machine tools in accordance with the strategy of the company. At the first stage in September 2017, we are planning to start the series production of attachments with CNC for turning and milling operation purpose, which is not produced anywhere in Russia as of today. The main purpose is that products that we have meet the requirements of the foreign products, and in terms of cost exceed this with the maximum use of Russian components. As was mentioned here, our company is among the 12 Russian enterprises selected by Japanese experts in order to diagnose and technical audit in order to improve the efficiency and productivity. In this regard, the delegation of the Japanese Association for Trade in Russia and the new independent countries with the participation of Japanese experts has already twice visited our company. The total amount of consultations delivered by Japanese specialists is about 150 hours. We are very thankful for their valuable advice in terms of lean production. We have already reallocated the use of facilities based on logistics and laid special emphasis on the use of production and refocus in several areas, and given a lot of examples how it works in Japanese companies, and very valuable consultation were given. In fact, with regard to marketing, a special emphasis was laid on human resources management, stimulating, delivering information, prediction of errors, partnerships with customers. This allowed me as a head already set a new vector already today set a new vector for production process. We started attending more with giving more attention to graphical visualization of graphic information at the production facilities. I would like to thank our Japanese colleagues for their openness and attentive attitude, because this problem is directly related to the main topic of INNOPROM 2017, smart production, smart manufacturing. I think we should give more attention to the efficiency, optimization, and competitiveness. Kada-san, we have discussed with you how we are going to build our further relations, and in this regard I would like to say a couple of words too. In the near future, we would like to build mutually beneficial contacts with specialized Japanese companies, attachment producers with CNC control, and we believe that Rotobo colleagues will give all the necessary assistance in order to find the necessary companies of Japan. And we also suggest that efficient dialogue is built between designers and engineers of our company with the Japanese colleagues to find the optimal designer solutions as the first step to transfer of technologies and further joint mastering of new technologies. It would be very interesting to see your approaches in dealing with design issues. I would like to ask the Japanese party to organize the corresponding meetings at specialized Japanese companies in order to gain common experience for topical matters. And we suggest that the results of the technical audit are used in order to develop an efficient method in order to build a joint technological process as far as industry is concerned. Our cooperation should be focused on finding an implementation of such projects that would promote the improvement of the existing process flows and produce, in order to produce products in demand at third countries. As for sensitive industries of Russia, Japanese companies take the leading role, play the leading roles. As for specifics of the area for the further development of the company, it provides for the technological competences not available on the Russian market. As far as imports, some machine tools items can be imported up to 100%. Within this context, we are also very actively working in order to build, to gain experience and to find cooperation with other foreign partners that are who are interested in entering Russian market and looking for the opportunities to localize production components in Russia, and regularly take part in specialized exhibitions and fairs abroad in Russia and in Russia. Thank you very much for your invitation. Thank you very much. Mr. Jagaev's company is planning to build a new factory, and we are currently discussing with the Japanese specialists what scheme can be used to build such a factory. And within a week, we have had discussions. At first, there were controversies and disagreements as far as the flow of things was concerned. There was a huge misunderstanding, and but today we have a main topic of improving the efficiency directly related to the main idea of meeting. Our specialists are working directly at the platforms and production sites, and it's important that their experience is used in different areas, and it's very important that we raise the proper human resources. Train people at your factory, and that's why we need to skillfully use the Japanese experience, and that's why we need to give them the opportunity to do that. And we decided to jointly with the Russian party that we change the scheme of equipment arrangement, layout, and in this area the huge role was played by the heads of the company, and mutual trust between the companies is also a key factor of the further development of increasing the efficiency. Now the floor is given to the next representative of the speaker. of the Japanese side, Mr. Takagi Noboru of Kawasaki Robotics. Good day, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Tagaki. I represent Kawasaki Robotics of Germany. I would like to raise the issue of improving the efficiency from the viewpoint of robotics. There are different approaches in order to identify the efficiency of the production. One of them is to find how much the output with regard to minimal resources is as a ratio. The resource that we have are human resources, time resources, or financial resources. We should be able to use the minimum amount of human resources with the amount of labor time and minimum amount of investments to provide the maximum amount of products or services. And one of the ways to solve this issue is to robotize. Currently, Japan is known as the advanced robotics country. But unfortunately, in Russia, the level of distribution of robots is quite low. I would like to show you some interesting data. Per 10,000 people, the distribution of robots in the world, industrial robots in the world. In 2015, according to the data of 2015, the biggest amount of robots were in Korea, 531 robots. In Japan, 305. And currently in China, where there is a huge percentage of robots, there are about 49 of them. But if we take Russia, there are only 3 robots per 10,000 employed at the production facilities. And I think that this situation can be considered as a hidden opportunity for further growth and robotization. What does the robotization purpose mean? It doesn't mean that we need to assign to robots anything and transfer all obligations to them, and that they should perform all actions and all operations at the production. And one of the main purposes of robotization is to replace high-cost human labor and optimize the expenses. But we still need to find the opportunities and to find the works appropriate for robot and works appropriate for human. Let us consider what operations can be considered as robot operations. First of all, these are workplaces that are dangerous and hazardous, or negative production conditions, or negative in terms of environmental conditions, and hazardous. By transferring operations in this field, robots will ensure the transparency and the safety of the production process. Such processes can also include monotonous, simple operations that require precision in performance. Human finds it difficult to perform monotonous operation while maintaining the quality. And robot has a huge performance of repeated monotonous operation and will precisely, without breaks or stops, perform in a uniform manner for a long period of time. On the other hand, if we consider the workplaces with a lack of human resources and high personnel turnover require a lot of time for training and does not provide for stable quality. If people are often replaced, they need to be retrained or trained additionally, which causes unstable quality. And in mass production, there is a wide use of high-speed specialized machines. But currently, the main area is the multi-purpose products with the same machine tool in order to produce one or several types of products. Because the lifetime of goods is short, we need to be flexible in improving and modifying the process flow, and robots can be used in this field in order to make that in the most flexible manner to achieve the set goals and modify the production process flows. In comparison with human, robots are just a hand and a body, and depending on the operation type, they need hands or fingers or legs or also eyes. They also might need tools such as welding tools, painting tools, pistol in order to perform accordingly. Only in combination with this peripheral equipment will have a dedicated robotized system in its full sense, in its complete sense, and will increase the efficiency of production. In other words, such a system, integrated system, would be a very important factor. However, our company, as the robot producer, we produce robots that are capable of contributing to the efficiency of production. I would like to give an example. Several years ago, we have developed a robot for precise contact welding in the form of a manipulator armed with a full hand. Thanks to this design, cables and air hoses for connecting the welding pistol in the free part of the hand are inside this robot that previously were externally. The industrial robot is the programmed unit which requires programming and training of robot at the working place is very efficient. That's why it's efficient to do training based on previously written program in the computer. But with this offline training, we can reproduce actions of robot, but we cannot reproduce the actions of the movements of cables and hoses outside the robot. Thus, with this training, we had to model or simulate abstractly movements and train that required more time than it might seem. However, this robot does not require this additional simulation or modeling, and in the meantime, all interferences that appear around robot can all be removed. And this time to reduce training of online conditions and on-spot setup is excluded. And also this robot is designed for a small footprint, and it's very compact and can work in compact conditions with full arrangement, with full kit. This is thanks to integrated cables. Thanks to that, one of the biggest car manufacturer has reduced the amount of area in twice for their production facilities. Thanks to the industrial robot, the efficiency of production is achieved, and also allows efficiently using the production areas. Here we in Kawasaki company, the robot production was started in 1968. This year we're celebrating the 50-year anniversary. Today we produce not only industrial robot but also civil-used robots, and we have recently founded a medical robot company. As a result, we have a wide range of robots that can meet different conditions and working under different conditions. We can provide the customer with the corresponding system and give recommendations to improve the equipment. We have the office in representation in Germany, but in Russia we work with the official partner Robot Wizard company, and we hope that we'll be able to jointly help your companies as far as robotization and efficiency of production is concerned. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you very much, Mr. Takagi. Kawasaki Heavy Machine Building at this INNOPROM presents its robot at the stand, and I invite all colleagues today to see this robot, and if you have a look, then you will surely enjoy the technologies that have been mentioned by Takagi-san. Today we have said that automation is extremely important for production and to improve the efficiency, and I hope that during the discussion we'll be able to discuss that. And next I would like to give the floor to Mr. Klimachov, Deputy Head Director of Istok Audio Company. Dear participants, dear Akada-san, I represent stock audio company. They are leading. We are the leading in Russia and CS countries in terms of designing and supplying medical equipment for disabled people, for low mobility population. We work since 1994. We are founded based on the stock defense purpose company. We initially producing hearing instruments. We grew to become a major holding. We have many years of experience, powerful potential, and modern production facilities. The main area of our activity for many years has been the production and distribution of hearing instruments. We have provided about 500,000 of hearing instruments. We have 80 different hearing instruments of different types, economy to premium class. We have special instruments for children, and also 3D laboratory for designing cases for hearing instruments, and individual accessories. An important area of our work is the sound amplifying equipment for hearing impaired children and training. This equipment is used for communication purposes with hearing impaired people. The acoustic systems are intended for training and special schools and lecture halls and air rooms. Induction system is intended for wireless sound transmission use in coil and induction approach. They're used in such areas as airports, social establishments, and other halls with huge reverberation. They also allow for comfortable hearing conditions at home. We also work on new products. In 2016, Stock Audio became a part of the initiative of diagnosis to analyze the deficiency of Russian enterprises within Russian-Japanese Memorandum of Understanding. 2017, we started cooperating. Our employees started cooperating with the with Japanese rotor companies since the 5th of June to the 8th of June 2017. Stock Audio met Toyota Engineering and sought optimization processes considering the experience of Toyota Engineering and Yurin Kaizen approach. Within the working meeting, events took place in two areas: analysis of the process flow within which we got acquainted with the assembly production, analyzed the process flow in details, and also workplaces in details, the humidity, dust level, and other conditions. We consider the area of improving the climate at the warehouse, the presentation of strategy at Toyota Engineering given by the Japanese party. Within the working meeting, the issue of developing a new product for hearing impaired people was considered, was circuit design, considered the circuits there and designed in detail, considered the costs of components for the new product, and we also consider the possible plan for production process flow. Considering the recommendation, the new prospects for development were found, and our cooperation with Rotobo is long-term, promising, and very beneficial. We have also agreed on future cooperation with Rotobo. We're going to search for Japanese partners in order to localize the production of equipment for disabled people, and also to find the common projects to distribute products for hearing impairment and rehabilitation activities. Stock Audio thanks offers deep gratitude for participation of Rotobo in represented by Akada Kuina, Suzuki, and circuit design of Atsuzaku Suzuki and Gintario Toki. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much. Mr. Klimachev, as is what already mentioned, this company provides the instruments for disabled people. And this company also produces such goods, is not only developing but also sells these products. And to my point of view, in Russia, Stock Audio works in Russia, and I have found a place where I have opportunities. More than 25 years passed since the collapse of the Soviet Union. I'm telling that especially to my Japanese colleagues. More than a quarter of a century has already passed. And of course, Russian society is constantly developing. And now many people pay special attention to the improvement of environment and conditions for disabled people. And even laws are adopted for the conditions of disabled people, to create conditions for them. And in Russia, this area is also actively development. Such companies as Stock Audio produce instruments for such people. There is a law, there are companies, a number of companies, which are manufacturing these instruments, and they are actively developing their businesses and expanding their businesses. And to my point of view, that for us, for Japanese companies, there is a huge opportunity to cooperate with such companies in the Russian Federation. And for people who have some difficulties, who need some special approach, we can develop joint products, as the speaker said, together with Japanese specialists in this sphere. Some efforts have already been taken, and in the nearest future we will have an opportunity to demonstrate the results of this cooperation, which can be offered to the people who need such products. And the price will be very affordable. During manufacturing of such products, we improve the efficiency of production, and we also can decrease the price. I'm glad that cooperation with the Stock Audio company will bring practical results, and I think that it symbolizes the stable relations of. Good afternoon, dear colleagues. I represent Mitsubishi Electric Corporation, and I represent Department on Global Connections. In 2007 till 2015, during 7.5 years, I have been working in Moscow on the Russian market, and Russian language is very difficult to my point of view. That is why I know only some words in Russian. That's why allow me to speak Japanese today. And I would like to tell you about the general trend of the processing industry, and I would like to tell you about our company, about our corporation, Mitsubishi Electric, and also I would like to tell you about the area of development of society. Yesterday, our minister Hikisagi Seko said about that, and his presentation, he's mentioned the Society 5.0. This is the next generation of society, and regarding environment, our industry, and of course at the moment we're developing IT, and we implement it very actively. ITs are applied in all the spheres, which makes our society even more difficult and complicated. We use sensors, and through the sensors we receive different data on the production side, and we use very high-speed channels to send this data to processing centers through cloud technologies or calculations. This data is being processed, and the processed data is being analyzed with the use of AR, and the results are used for improvement of efficiency and production in general. This is the order that we have in our industry. And for the consumers, there is a general approach to decrease the cost of a product. Diversification is also very important at the moment, especially in our production, because we are not only dealing with massive production, but we also use automation and robotics, which is also a very important trend of our industry at the moment. And this is how the scheme looks, mechanism of our production. Internet of Things connect our production, our manufacturing in a real-time regime. The data is being processed. The data comes from the production side. It is processed, and the data is used to improve the efficiency. And on horizontal line, you can see the network, information network, in both horizontal and vertical directions. We start from design phase, and design allows us to develop the production process, and a lot of equipment arrangement is made. And after the production, of course, we think that maintenance is also very important of our products and our equipment. And regarding the delivery and supply, very important from this point of view is demand. We have to forecast a demand on the market, and considering the demand, we purchase materials and we produce the necessary instruments and equipment. Then logistics network is a very important component of the production process. All these processes are interconnected with the use of Internet of Things, and today our industry is very important, especially from the point of view of the internet connection between the production and demand and supply in both Germany and Russia. Industry 4 is a very famous concept for generation. In the US, there is an internet consortium, and the generation 4.0, it includes Siemens and other companies. And of course, these companies are actively improving their performance. Internet of Things. Internet Consortium is a consortium of industrial companies. It is based in the US. This is a concept which is actively used in the US. They are also considering how to improve efficiency. And in Japan, we are developing a concept of the Society 5. Society 5 is not just a society. It means to optimize the process which takes place in the society in general. And in order to implement this Society 5, as our minister, Mr. Seka, said yesterday, the connecting industries are very important. Between the machine and machine, between a man and a machine, between countries and governments, which are interconnected in all the directions. And this connection, with the help of different technologies and internet-based technologies, first of all, could provide a new sphere of activities. Society of the 5th generation, as a concept of Japanese government, will support and will facilitate development of the society in general, using the internet technologies, first of all. I will tell you later about that in details. Our company, Mitsubishi Electric, is developing a concept since 2003, e-factory, electronic factory. What is e-factory? What this concept means? It is actively uses IoT, Internet of Things, and of course we analyze the results of this big data. Internet of Things, to our point of view, is a new term. It's something new, but It has been existing for more than 10 years in our market, and we are dealing with it for more than 10 years. And here you can see the quality, the efficiency, safety. All these things have to be implemented by each company, and this is where we're striving for. Each company is working on it. But before we achieve that, we need to understand what takes place on the construction site, on the factory. It's the first floor, production site. Sensors allow us to receive data which tell us what exactly we have at the production site. After that, the second level is calculation. This data is sent to the calculation level, and after that we have EMS and other programs which we use for the analysis. And on the high level, there is this data is being analyzed. This is how we have all the levels which allow us to analyze the data. And the Generation Society 4 Internet Consortium, American concept, are still not developed from the point of view of this company. We in Japan, we pay more attention to computing, to the calculation in a real-time regime. We analyze data, and this data is transferred back to the production site in a real-time mode. It's a two-way movement. We have to connect all these processes with the computing, and these data are processed and analyzed using the computation. If this program of this computation calculation allows to process data, it goes to the next highest level of the program. And this is the position of our computing, edge computing. In the middle, there is a position of this program, edge computing, the production side, and the data from production side goes to this level of edge computing, and in a real-time regime it's being processed and analyzed, and after that this program is directly connected to the next program of data processing. This is the concept that we have. We have a detailed program. There are 3 cases in order to connect the equipment and the production side to the computer, to the edge computing, to the program. Sometimes there are some problems on the factories when you need a lot of time, when it requires, and it's money intensive and labor intensive and time intensive. That is why it's very important to understand that we need a lot of efforts and means to train personnel, to invite specialists and programmers. In order to solve all these problems, we have a solution. You can see on the slide, we have an open platform of automation of production and internet, IT, information technologies. We have information from the factory, the data, but unfortunately on the factories, the truth is that on the factories there are different equipment, different sensors. In our plants we have not only Mitsubishi produced equipment, and this open platform can unite all the devices produced by different manufacturers. That is why it is called open platform. Maybe this open platform is a tool for transferring the information, and the data is processed to solve the problems on production. This is how looks the scheme of this concept. There is an application, special application, which will allow you to connect equipment to our open platform. Our clients, our future clients, will purchase this application in order to connect to our open platform site. And using Internet of Things, you can connect all the equipment, all the devices of your factory to our program, open platform. In 2003, we have already developed such a product, and in Russia, Russia is already familiar with our system, electronic factory, e-factory. And I know that it's already very popular. And Japan is striving to another thing, and I would like to tell you about. We have a concept, Society 5, 5-generation society. Which position does this concept have? It started from the agricultural society more than informatization society. And we would like to go further to the next society, 5th generation. This is how the concept looks. You have the database on the bottom level, which supports our society. Different data from different sources on production sites and other areas come to this, and we need social infrastructure and legislative basis. We need a law which will allow us to support, to preserve the value of data, and on the basis of such rules and legislations, we create a cyber spaces and cyber systems for processing of the data, and we form different databases, which means that all of that is a basis, is a foundation of the society. That is why in this sphere there will be no competition between the companies, because all the companies will have a general database. Database and legislation is a general foundation on the basis of which our society will be developing. And the database in the future will be common for all the companies, and all the companies will have an opportunity to use these databases as resources for the future development of their company and their industry. And of course, there is a new method of production which needs to be developed, because it is very important and it is related to our developments and to our designs. E-factory. Mitsubishi Electric is the most active participant of development of such a society. And of course, our company cannot do it alone to create such a society, but nevertheless, we play a leading role, which is surrounded by this area, which is in a red color on the scheme. And of course, it's impossible. For example, Mitsubishi Electric offers to the society their products and their e-factory program, but that does not mean that all the society, all the people will use the e-factory. For example, in Russia, we implement this e-factory. We need to work together with our partners in order to efficiently apply our technologies for each factory. And this is the last topic I would like to cover. Society 5. Means that the approach of sustainable development of the society is very important. This topic is actively discussed on the global level, and our concept corresponds to this idea, and our new concept has a global significance. As it was already mentioned, our concept of Society 5, 5th generation, will also be popular, especially in the Russian society. That is why Mitsubishi Electric Corporation is willing to actively participate in the Russian markets in order to contribute to the development of Russian markets and society in Russia. Mr. Uemura, thank you very much. Today, we have mentioned connecting industries several times through the computers. Such technologies which connect us. It is very widespread phenomenon, especially now in Russia. We talk a lot about the improvement of efficiency, but in order to achieve this, we need to change the value of different objects. That is why all the speakers are talking about the same topic. Mitsubishi Electric and the heavy machine building and other companies. A lot of efforts are being taken in this direction, and I believe that if our speakers will answer our questions, it will be very useful for us. And now I would like to give the floor to the Pegas Agro representative.
Good afternoon. The colleagues here represent the Samara company Pegas Agro. This year our enterprise was included in 12 Russian companies that take part in the diagnosis of Russian companies' performance within the Memorandum of Understanding between Ministry of Industry of Russia and Japan. I will say a couple of words about our company. We produce agricultural equipment. Currently, we produce agricultural self-propelled spreaders, sprayers, and we produce 2 vehicles of different lifting capacities that are equipped with 4 different modules that perform different functions, of course. Currently, our company produces about 350 units per annum of different modifications. I'll say a couple of words about the company itself. We have about 6,000 of production area, 200 people of personnel working. Our company is equipped with high performance, highly accurate metal bending, metal cutting equipment, and also metal machining equipment. Currently, we are working actively at mastering the welding processes at production. Considering the growing demand for our products, we have developed a strategy of the company's development by 2020, according to which we plan to increase the amount of production by 1,000 machines per year, to develop and launch into production a new vehicle with improved performance, and also master the new production facilities and many other items. We understand that in order for us to implement this program, we need to continuously improve the quality of our products and also reduce the production expenses on a continuous basis to improve the efficiency of labor. And also improve the monitoring and controllability of processes at every production stage. In our company, we already now work at building a production system, employing the experience of Toyota system. We have implemented such tools as personnel involvement in continuous improvement process, Kaizen, standardization, and improvement of workplaces 5S, the standard operations, and also evaluation efficiency of loading of equipment, OEE, the system of maintenance of equipment, TPM. We have implemented the KPI approach for all production areas and departments, and also managing the product quality throughout the entire process, visual management, and standard procedures of addressing problems. All these tools are currently being developed, and for us it's important to gain this experience of Japanese colleagues in order for them to answer the questions that we have accumulated during the building of this system, in order to widen our horizons, so to speak. This picture shows our work group, and I would like to use this occasion to thank Mr. Akada-san, Mr. Suzuki-san, Ashiba-san, who showed a lot of understanding to our products and for the fruitful cooperation and the result, of course. Initially, Japanese specialists visited our company to study the process flow, to conduct the technical audit, and we have seen the bottlenecks, advantages, disadvantages. A work group was formed and specialists were trained. And later, a plan was made for further work. The fields were found where the maximum effect could be gained. I have already mentioned that some tools were already mastered at the enterprise, but they are not yet embodied as a single system. And while we communicated with Japanese experts, we really opened new opportunities to us, and we built designed plan for our future work, and we are planning to reconsider the assembly section and also to reconsider the planning of other operations in other workshops, improve the visualization of some points, and to build the single Kanban system throughout the entire enterprise to promote the production process. Within cooperation, as a part of cooperation, we also intend to build new production facilities. The concept was formed of this facility and the plan was developed, the layout. Thank you very much. This is it. I've forgotten. Our company is also strongly interested in building cooperation with Japanese companies with regard to purchasing equipment in the future, and also to buy components of high quality for our equipment, for our machinery. And Kada-san has promised his assistant, and there are currently negotiations, and we hope we'll achieve good result. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you very much, Pegas Agro. Pegas is the winged horse. At first I thought, what is the connection between Pegas Agro and Pegas? As Alexander said that, and all heads of Pegas Agro said that they are all graduates of Aviation Building University of Samara. Then I understood why it was so. In the Soviet times, they graduated from the university during the exactly when the Soviet Union was over, collapsed, and they decided, instead of building aircraft, started building flying machines, flying agricultural units. So when Japanese come, they also see that there is a new concept for the Russian company, the value added, high added value, and this is the strong point of this company. In order to just imagine what aircraft builders can make to agricultural machinery. You imagine agricultural tools that of different value, of different aspects. And in Japan, probably in the near future, the demand for such units will also be generated. And this is also a very interesting product. And these units are in demand at the Russian market. But in Japan, I don't know how much is it required that agricultural machines really fly like aircrafts, where the Japanese fields really need that speed. Nevertheless, here we gain a lot of experience of cooperation between the Russian and the Japanese companies. It's quite significant and symbolic. During the discussion, I had a number of questions for Japanese experts, and to hear them out, we have a special guest, Mr. Ivanov, Director of the Department of Machine Tool Building Investment, Machine Building of the Ministry of Trade and Industry of the Russian Federation. And as I have said, this program is conducted within the memorandum signed between our ministries. I would like to ask Mr. Ivanov to say a couple of words on behalf of the government ministry. I would like to thank you. In Japan, a couple of words. I'm the head of the Department of the Industry Representation and Trade Representation. We're dealing with the machine building, machine tool building. My name is Mikhail Ivanov. I would like to say that I really enjoy the fact that I was invited to this session, and the 8 points of this program for which the agreement was reached between our leaders. And I think that INNOPROM focuses on mutually beneficial cooperation for Japanese and Russian, and I wish success and fruitful work for all parties. Let me switch to Russian language. In Russia, we really find it very important. We attach a lot of importance to this event because Japan today is of course a leader as far as introduction of modern technologies is concerned. The modern control methods for production processes. Over the last 2016, we visited Japan twice, and we got a lot of impressions. Shocked in a good way by Japanese industry that adapted to the conditions under which the country developed, the export-oriented economy, the restrictedness of the territory, which made Japan develop the approaches that allowed building the flexible production facilities, on automation facilities, robotization facilities. And we as Russian Federation has our own way of development, but nevertheless we understand that today, in the new reality that has been mentioned by the Minister Seko, we had bilateral meeting. We had this bilateral meeting with Mantarov, and I'm sorry I had to be late. Because of that, Minister Saka mentioned Industry for All, and the connection of industries, connected industries, and it really brings us to the new reality when the human is combined with machine, where machines are communicated with machines, industries, factories with factories, industries with industries within the unified in digital area. And Minister Seka suggested that Russia develops cooperation in this field, and we of course supported this idea. And within our joint work at all work platforms, including our industry group, we will focus on this topic in the most detailed manner. Today, it has been mentioned a little bit by the speakers. In 2016, December 2016, we have signed the Memorandum of Understanding and Cooperation in 2 areas. One is related to training of personnel, and starting this January to next March, more than 100 specialists from the Russian Federation will be trained and will have workshops. And in Japan, according to SECO, there will be about 50 people who will be sent for this work. And another area to improve the production efficiency, which is related to the audit of Russian companies. That we have about 12 who are involved in this program, and we hope that the experience and the results that will be gained as a result of this program will enable us to scale this experience and to make this experience very common. I would like to also to mention that in the near future we are also opening an engineering center of FANAC at Skolkovo site. For us it's also an important event because the purpose of this center is to implement the engineering services and FANAC solutions using the products of other innovative companies, including Russian companies who reside at Skolkovo. That's a very important process. We monitor it, and in the future we are planning to support it, of course. I cannot say that currently we did little to improve the production efficiency. In fact, in some areas the performance indicators grow in quite impressive rates. Chemical, metallic industries, pharmaceutical, 1.5 times since 2011 when we took the launching point, the point of coordinates, and today at the level of ministry we have already gained experience. We have worked the practice when there is a deputy assigned responsible for implementing the lean production, and these are separate authorities who only deal with this aspect and have nothing to do with finances or production aspects. They have only deal only with lean production, and they have their own indicators that are related to the reduction of manual operations, reduction of production expenses, improvement of planning, improvement of work time losses, and there is such a system now, and we intend to develop it. One needs to mention that with regard to the existing support mechanisms, we cover almost all stages of building a product in the industry, starting from development, design, production preparation or factory building, in other words, and launching this product into the market. And I believe in cooperation with Japanese partners, with Japanese specialists, we will be able to optimally introduce these new technologies, having our own experience in this field at all stages of the product's life cycle, because such an approach allows providing the necessary conditions in order for us to be ready today for the future markets. That's what the purpose of our national strategy initiative is. There is Industry for All in Germany, in Japan, robotics strategy. We have recently seen a good presentation of Society 5.0. These concepts are quite similar to what is done abroad, and they are all deep in the National Technological Initiative, more than a dozen of roadmaps, new markets we are getting ready for. And to separately mention that I focus on TechNet roadmap, that is technologically is a technological platform to implement other roadmaps. That is why we are working on it, and thank you very much for the support of the colleagues, that they are ready to hold this event. They will show their readiness to take part in this event. And in conclusion, I'd like to say that Japan, I think, is the pioneer, the founder of all production efficiency ideas. This is Dow, Toyota, Kaizen too, and I've heard that Kaizen Institute ceased to operate in Moscow, as far as I know. Maybe Mr. Alcada will comment on that, which is a sad thing to hear, because these principles of efficient management, efficient production management are applied not only in Japan but also major companies related not only to mass production such as automotive industry but also metallurgical companies, Boeing, Alcoa, General Electric, Caterpillar. All these companies in this or other way use their own principles that are borrowed from ideas promoted by Toyota today. Dear colleagues, I'm glad that you see, I will be glad to see you all at Moscow, the INNOPROM platform, and I wish you success, that the work of this section and many other sections will make us closer to the joint mastering of new fields and opening new opportunities related to Industry 4.0, maybe Industry 5.0, to closer to development of our companies, improving the quality of our labor resources, and good luck to you all and all the best. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the speech. As Mr. Ivanov has said with regard to Kaizen, there was a question. The Kaizen Institute has finished its operation or not. 3 companies, Mr. Suzuki Consult, he's 75 years old. He's a big expert of Toyota, and he has developed this production system of Toyota, and as you call it, lean production. But the book was written by American specialists for lean production, and probably that's from where Russians have learned that. But the American author was actually the interpreter of Mr. Suzuki, an American who wrote this book. Knows very well the production system of Toyota that was initially relayed by Mr. Suzuki. And there is a company, Toyota Engineering, where Mr. Suzuki works, and other specialists that have left already Toyota, depending on their pensionary age, but they are quite active, disseminating information about Toyota production system. We have quite little time, but I would like to mention 3 specialists of Japanese party. I would like to ask them about robots, the connection with internet, and they represent not major production. What is the initial approach required? And by doing this, you can probably interest the Russian party to encourage them to learn more about the Japanese approach. And now our Japanese representatives represent quite major companies, but among the participants of the Russian parties, there are also representatives of small and medium enterprises. So that's why I would like to ask a Japanese specialist, is it possible for Russian middle small companies to implement such an approach? I work with Japanese small and medium businesses as far as consultations. First, we need to understand what this or that company wants to do, what area should they address, and they need to address. There was mentioned the vegetable factory or greenhouse factory, and employees, their work. And first, we have learned that you have a problem. What should be done in order to motivate the personnel? There are expensive vegetables, but if they are were produced at good factory in clean conditions, then price may be a little higher compared to ordinary vegetables, but they nevertheless are bought and in demand. And in the next year we will build the rehabilitation medical center for building such a center, we'll also take into account the needs of local patients as much as we can, and this is what is important, to understand what are your demands and needs, and based on that we will be able to offer our solution to you. I have mentioned in my presentation too, as far as presentation is concerned, we can give the work to robots that is specific to robots. It's very important that we separate between operations. When you think about robotization, what do you want to achieve by given the operation of one person or two person to one robot, or replace 3 persons with one robot? This is the wrong thing to think. We are not telling about cutting the manpower, but about giving the monotonous and the most complicated operations to robot, and that's why this clear separation of operations is the simplest automation. Since we produce a lot of robots, not only for major car manufacturers, but also for small and medium businesses. And if there are any needs, even small needs, we are able to address them and to supply you with robots depending on these needs. I would like to reply on behalf of Mitsubishi Electric. Recently, I have mentioned that in my presentation, and our company is a very active IT company. We widely apply them in production process, and first, we have communication with the customer. Not always do the customer have a major plant, and we never suggest to change the plant totally. First, we consider the existing facility. If there are 5 lines, we can start modifying the first one, gradually replacing and upgrading equipment and networks, and by doing so we can improve the efficiency. When there is an opportunity, financial opportunity, we will be able to horizontally distribute these technologies. That's why it's applicable not only to major companies but also to major and small businesses. The only thing that really I would like to draw attention to, we need to really understand what the customer wants. If the customer says we need IoT, but we don't really know what they need, what is just IoT? Internet of Things, toys, or if toys are used, then they will give no specific effect. If it's just not IT but specific tasks that need to be addressed, then we can be of benefit and use to you. Thank you very much. Due to the lack of time, I'd like to summarize on what was said. 3 Japanese specialists commented on my question, and we received different tasks from Russian companies, from Russian customers, ideas, and every of them had a long list of ideas, and it's difficult for us to understand what would be the starting point. We need to define the priorities in the future program, and I would like to ask the Russian party that you prioritize your tasks. What would you start with? In our section-based work, I would like to emphasize the fact that Russia changes Kaluzhska region, Moscow region, Kaluga region, Moscow region, and Samara region representatives and Belgorod representatives are also here. The southern cities, northern cities representatives are here, and we develop our cooperation in all areas, geographical areas, and we see that Russia develops, improves, and I wish that we had more chances visiting Russian companies. And I would like to address the Japanese companies that you visit the Russian company on the field and on the spot, and to see what can be done in fact in practice in order to improve the efficiency and to develop cooperation. Today, on behalf of Rotobo, we organize such section-based work, and 500 companies contacted us to visit our workshops. That has not been before, and we broke some kind of record by reaching this amount of our requests. And when we consider the possibility of cooperation to jointly develop the production and the industry, it's also important that we mutually beneficial to one another. It's impossible for Japanese to teach Russians in a unilateral manner because it's 25 years after the collapse of the Soviet Union, and the economy develops, and there are things to learn actually for Japanese specialists, and it's a mutually beneficial information exchange, and we need to complete one another and to build values together. And this can be done only in the process of cooperation. It gives value, profits to the production factory, and mutually beneficial. It's very important. One can say that easily, simply, but it's also important that mutually beneficial cooperation is emphasized. As far as machine inefficiency is concerned, if there is such cooperation, close cooperation between Russians and Japanese, we will be able to grow closer in terms of relations between the countries. And here I would like to conclude our section. And in conclusion, I would like to wish you all, the Japanese, the Russian party, to improve the cooperation for our areas of work. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.